Morning. Okay. You know, on vacation, and then you're looking at this. This is really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is, but
It's not Florida. It's not flat.
no, not Florida, but someplace beautiful. Not tropical. Yes. Certainly not Colorado, which is beautiful too, but morning. Okay.
Good morning. I'm going to call to order this public meeting of the Arapahoe County Board of County Commissioners for June 18th, 2019. To my left is Ron Carl, the county attorney. To my far right is Jolene Sanchez, the assistant clerk to the board. Ms. Sanchez, would you please call the roll with Commissioner Conti being...
Commissioner Sharp?
Here.
Commissioner Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Carl, are there any modifications to the agenda this morning?
Yes, there's one requested modification. Attorney Bob Hill has requested that we pull item 6F, which is Copperleaf Filing 21 Final Development Plan from the consent agenda, and move it to the general business agenda as item 7B.
7B. 6F becomes 7B. Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from any of the commissioners?
I'll move approval of the agenda as modified.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Sharp, seconded by Commissioner Holland. All in favor? Aye. That motion carries. This is the time that we've set aside for any citizens to address the Board of County Commissioners on non-agenda items. If there's anyone here, a citizen that would like to speak to the Board of County Commissioners on something that's not on the agenda to be discussed, please make yourself known to me. Seeing none, the citizen comment period is closed. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve from public hearings on May 14th, May 21st, and May 28th. It was a full board for all of those 3 meetings. So what I'd like to do is ask for approval of all 3 sets of those minutes, unless anyone has any objection to that or any comments or questions.
Sure.
Commissioner Holland.
I move that we approve all 3 sets of minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holland, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Commissioner Conti being absent and excused, that motion carries. We have several items on the consent agenda with a reminder that item 6F has been pulled to the general business agenda. Are there any questions about anything that appears on our consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nancy Sharp, seconded by Commissioner Nancy Jackson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. So we are ready to move on to the general business items. We have 2 general business items. Does it matter what order Mr. Hill, that we hear these, or do we hear these concurrently, or?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Both these items are related development. The one is a final development plan, which was removed from the consent agenda, and the other is the final plat. The final plat requires a public hearing. It has been noticed for a public hearing in accordance with the Land Development Code, and the board has jurisdiction to proceed on both of them. The reason that I asked that the final development plan be pulled from the consent agenda is just some confusion in the way the conditions of the staff's recommended conditions of approval are laid out. So I think it would be valuable to consider to address the specific conditions of approval that are recommended in a separate motion. You do have a motion in your packet. If you look through the packet, there's a draft resolution. The draft resolution did not incorporate the conditions of approval, and the staff report doesn't incorporate them. So just for clarity and to make sure that the conditions are clear on the record, that's why I asked that it be pulled. So, and to get to your first question, in that regard, I would consider the FDP first, but the FDP doesn't require a public hearing, so I think the FDP motion should go first, and then the final plat motion second, after a public hearing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Hill. Our presenter this morning is Bill Skinner with the Public Works, Senior Planner with Public Works and Development. Good morning, Mr. Skinner.
Morning, Commissioners. So do I understand that we can talk about these concurrently? It's just motions that happen in specific order. Okay. Okay. So we're going to talk about the plat first, because you can't have a final development plan unless you create some platted lots as far as approvals go. So case PF 18-009, Copperleaf 21, final plat, is a final plat located in Copperleaf, as the name implies. Just make sure I've got the right piece here. The Copperleaf number 1 final plat. Oh, just a moment. Yeah, we're good. Okay. The Copperleaf number 21 final plat site is located approximately 700 feet southwest of the intersection of East Quincy Avenue and South Piccadilly Street in Commissioner District 3. The final plat is creating lots and tracts for a proposed final development plan we'll hear about in just a moment. The final plats in the county are largely statutory, and staff has reviewed this final plat against those requirements in state statute and finds this plat to be largely, finds the plat to be correct and accurate and approvable by the board. Final plats do not go to the Planning Commission, so we do not have a Planning Commission recommendation for this. However, we have a staff recommendation for approval of this. That's the final plat. Moving on to the final development plan, where the actual details of this are. The final development plan, which is proposed to take advantage of this plat, is case FDP 18005, Copperleaf filing 21 final development plan. The FDP, or more commonly known as a site plan, proposes 266 multi-family housing units in 3-story buildings on a 12.17 acre lot. This would result in an average density of 21.9 DU per acre. This is in Copperleaf. It's inside the Copperleaf PDP. That established maximum densities some time ago for all these various pieces of land that all work in conjunction with each other, and then there are absolute maximums for the entirety of Copperleaf. This particular piece of ground has a maximum density allowance of 30 DU per acre, and as I previously stated, but for clarity, the proposal comes in just about at 22 DU per acre, so it complies with that easily. They're only proposing 266 units. If they were to take advantage of that full 30 DU per acre, they could go up to 365, 99 units more. So they're coming in at significantly less than they could have on that too. These are going to be 4 apartments, as I understand it. They have supplied a decent amenities package along with this, which is all laid out in the staff report, but I'll let the applicant speak about that when they step up. The final development plan relies on the approval of the plat we just mentioned. So if for some reason the board decides not to approve the plat, then the final development plan will be considered not approved as well.
Commissioner Holman.
With respect to an individual apartment unit, how many apartments in those?
How many units will there be?
Yeah, within the building.
266.
And the total?
That's it, 266.
Thank you.
Okay, so final development plans do go to the Planning Commission. And in this case, we had 4 members sitting that night, and we had a vote of 4-0 for recommending approval. The staff recommends approval as well. I think I'd like to move on to the applicant's discussion of this, if we may.
Questions for Mr. Skinner before we move to the applicant? Commissioner Sharp.
Was there any opposition
Not
at
for
the
that.
planning commission meeting or any emails received?
Not for this one, no ma'am. Let me just double check that. No.
Thank you.
Any other comments for Mr. Skinner at this point? If no, we'll hear from the applicant. Good morning. If you'd state your full name and address for the record, it could be business address, just for the record. And we do have a document camera that can project onto.
Sure.
Yeah, there does tend to be some glare if we have it laying flat.
Well, while you're doing that, my name is Ryan McBreen. I'm with Norris Design, 1101 Bannock Street, Denver, Colorado, 80204. Good morning. Glad I brought my stuff prepared to talk about the FDP this morning. So figure while we have it out, we'll talk about it. Everything Bill said is correct. Just walk through the project a little bit. I guess you guys can you see it on your screens or?
No,
Okay.
I think they're working on it.
Can I hold it like this for now? Is that all right?
That'd be great.
So, just to orient yourselves a little bit, Piccadilly here makes its eastern boundary. Quincy is up here on the north. Currently, there's one lot that extends all the way up to Quincy. This is what the plat is doing. So what we're doing is we're subdividing it into 2 parcels, this north plat, or this north parcel, and then the southern parcel. The southern parcel is what we're here to talk about, the FDP. As Bill mentioned, 266 for-rent apartments in Copperleaf. Pretty excited to provide this. It's just another housing type in Copperleaf that we don't have right now. So Grand Peaks is an established developer in the area. They've done a lot of great projects throughout the Front Range, so they're excited to be here, and I know the Copperleaf community is excited to have them here. Just orient yourself a little bit further. Entrance is off Piccadilly here, and then there's also will be a private drive constructed on the north side of the property that will also serve future development on the north side, which I believe is commercial. Centrally located clubhouse with amenities, rec center, leasing office, that sort of thing. Pool, resort style pool with outdoor kitchen, places to hang out, type of amenities that's renters are looking for today. There's also a dog park. There are garages provided for not all units, but what they are for rent. So these buildings central into the parking lot or are freestanding garages that residents can rent. And then some of the buildings also have some tuck under parking as well. So this is a great project. It's a proven project. The quality is unlike any other. We've got a great architect and a great team that put this together. They're all here tonight to talk about it. And I actually have a little bit of just some sample of architecture. This is also included in your FDP, but this is the clubhouse. So you can see rich materials, high quality architecture, lots of visual interest. As well as, so here's kind of a sample of what the buildings look like too. 3 stories, pass-through corridors. This side's the garages. Once again, lots of different materials, plane breaks. A little harder to see on the individual, but lots of different materials, plain breaks, and colors utilized to make this an attractive project. Because Copperleaf's a great master plan community. You've seen me up here on several other projects, and I'll be up here again talking about some other ones soon. So once again, we're excited to bring it to you. We think this is great for the community. So I was pretty brief, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it.
A question. You mentioned a dog park. Is that internal to the apartment complex? Because there's a big sign on Piccadilly saying future site of Bark Park.
That is correct. So this is an internal one.
Okay.
Residents here. The dog park you are referencing actually has a hearing. I'm going to be there tonight. The Planning Commission for the location and expense on that one. That's further south down here, and that's for the greater Copperleaf community. This is going to internally serve this one.
I know there's a lot of anticipation of that.
Everybody's excited about it, so we're excited to get it approved tonight. So.
Yeah. Commissioner Holman.
I just have one question about the rent. Has the developer presented what the apartments would be renting for? And secondly, will there be any opportunities for lower income people to rent at that property?
Grand Peaks is here. I will let them answer those questions.
Thank you.
Welcome, and if you could state your name and address, business address is fine, for the record, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. My name is Ellie Loback. I'm with Grand Peaks Properties, and our address is 4582 South Ulster Street in Denver. So, yes, thank you for having me here today. We have just recently completed construction of a project very similar to this that was located a few exits further south on 470, and we envision this as being a very similar rollout, similar product type, and similar neighborhood to that entire project. It was also part of a larger master plan community with the Metro District as well. And the rents that we were getting at that property were, normally we refer to them in dollar per square foot type numbers. So just to give you some context, here we think that the rents will be roughly $1.76 per square foot. Rents downtown are in the $3 per square foot range at a lot of properties. So these are what we consider to be attainable rent prices. We don't have a strictly affordability component, but the rents on a one bedroom will be somewhere in the range of, depending on sizes, because we also offer a range of sizes. We have smaller size units for people who are looking at more of a budget range, and then we also have larger one bedrooms. We have two bedrooms, and we have three bedrooms. So the one bedrooms will be in the range of $1,200 to $1,300 depending on the size, and then the two bedrooms would go up to about $1,700 to $1,800, and then the three bedrooms are about $2,000 to $2,200.
Commissioner Jackson.
Presenter, I love it that you have a dog park because many of the renters will have dogs, so that's a good foresight. And I see lots of trees. I'm wondering where's the nearest park for kids to, besides the recreation center. I know we have an open space setback, and I didn't read in here whether those, I'm assuming those criteria have been met. But is there a park that they can go to other than our fairgrounds or something like that?
So there is not a park planned for within the
right.
community. Typically, these communities don't have a ton of kids, but Parks and Rec has reviewed this, and we're making trail connections. And also, I should add, sorry to derail the thought, but the conditions of approval we're 100% in agreement with, and we're working with Public Works staff to work through those. It's kind of been an ongoing discussion. So before I make that, but as part of that, made me think of that is because we have to construct some extra trails sidewalks and extend that.
They connect to
yes.
other trails.
I know in this residential portion over here, there is a park. The school is a little further. Sorry, I don't have a map, but it's further down that way if you're familiar with Copperleaf. And then there's development over here.
I speak handling.
Yes, and then there is some more open space and some tot lots over here or access. So, connectivity with through sidewalks and trails so everybody can be accessed. And, Copperleaf's a great community. People are all over it. So,
right.
And the idea is, like earlier mentioned, there's going to be the dog park down here. So while there's this small one, envision a lot of people walking down to the bigger one just because it's a good amenity too.
I think so.
A park that's getting built right here as
part
of the Katie Homes parcel.
Okay.
So it would be a walk around because this is a pretty big slope here. So you would walk around to get to it,
but it would be available to them?
Yes. It's all,
okay.
That's
it's
all
part
public.
of the master plan.
Cool. Thank you.
Any more questions for our presenters? Any more questions for staff? Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here this morning. Yeah. All right. This is a public hearing. Did we have anybody sign up to speak? Nobody signed up to speak. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Are there any citizens here that would like to speak to the Board of County Commissioners on the item PF? I'm sorry. Let me do the first one. FDP. I know we don't need to do a public hearing on the FDP, but FDP 18-005, Copperleaf 21 FDP, or on PF 18-009, Copperleaf 21 Final Plat. Please make yourself known to me. I'm going to close public hearing as there is no one here that would like to address us. Any further comments from commissioners? Okay, I'm going to do the motion for Copperleaf FDP 18-005, the final development plan first. The final development plan comes first. In the case of FDP 18-005, Copperleaf number 21 final development plan, I have reviewed the staff report, including all exhibits and attachments, and have listened to the applicant's presentation and any public comment presented at the hearing, and hereby move to approve this application based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the following conditions. Condition number 1, prior to signature of the final copy of these plans, the applicant must address Public Works staff comments and concerns, including those expressed in the engineer's board update report attached. 2, approval of FDP 18-005 Copperleaf Parcel L filing number 21 final development plan is contingent upon the approval of the PF 18-009 Copperleaf number 21 final replat. Number 3, applicant addresses all Arapahoe County Engineering Services Division comments. 4, applicant obtains all necessary approvals and permits. Number 5, applicant constructs a raised median in South Piccadilly Street prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Number 6, applicant constructs a paved access to and completes the signal at East Quincy Avenue, north of their site, prior to the first certificate of occupancy. Number 7, applicant revises the striping and signage at the existing filing 12 access on Piccadilly to be appropriate for a 3/4 movement intersection. Number 8, applicant enters into an SIA and provides collateral to the county for all public improvements associated with the project, including collateral for the full width of the raised median in South Piccadilly Street along the entire length of the developer's frontage. So a motion by Commissioner Baker.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sharp. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? With Commissioner Conti being absent and excused, that motion carries. Give us a few seconds here to change to the second. We did have a public hearing already and a public comment. I'm going to page 125. Is there any further motion on case number PF 18-009 Copperleaf filing 21 final plat? Again, I will make the motion. I'm reading a lot today. In the case of PF 18-009 Copperleaf filing 21 final plat, I have reviewed the staff report, including all exhibits and attachments, and have listened to the applicant's presentation and any public comment as presented at the hearing, and hereby move to approve this application based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the following conditions. 1, prior to signature of the final copy of these plans, the applicant must address Public Works staff comments and concerns, including those expressed in the Engineering Services Division's Board update report attached. 2, applicant obtains all necessary approvals and permits. 3, applicant constructs a raised median in South Piccadilly Street prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Number 4, applicant constructs a paved access to and completes the signal at East Quincy Avenue north of their site prior to the first certificate of occupancy. Number 5, applicant revises the striping and signage at the existing filing 12 access on Piccadilly to be appropriate for a 3/4 movement intersection. 6, applicant enters into an SIA and provides collateral to the county for all public improvements associated with the project, including collateral for the full width of the raised median in South Piccadilly Street along the entire length of the developer's frontage. Number 7, per the December 7th, 2004 Copperleaf Development Agreement, the property owner is responsible for the construction of a sidewalk on the south side of East Quincy Avenue. In this case, sidewalks extending from the west edge of filing 21 to the intersection of East Quincy Street and South Piccadilly Street. Said sidewalks shall be constructed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for improvements shown in the concurrent FDP 18-003 Copperleaf 21 FDP application. Number 8, the property owner shall construct the sidewalk on the west side of South Piccadilly Street along the east edge of filing 21. Said sidewalk shall be constructed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for improvements shown in the concurrent FDP 18-003 Copperleaf 21 FDP application. Are there any other comments?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, that motion carries. Congratulations. All right. Are there any commissioner comments this morning? If not, we are adjourned.
Right on time, Mr. Chair. I wanted to make sure I introduced